Hey, welcome back to another Axe Family video. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a smile on your face because today is a beautiful, beautiful day. Today we are going to meet up with a guy named Paul who started a type of gardening called Back to Eden gardening. Taylor and I implemented on our garden 2 years ago and we saw amazing results. And so we're excited for you guys to meet Paul and to see a little bit more of what he's doing. But first we gotta go over a bridge.
Whoa!
Paul, I'm Cody. I'm doing well. This is my wife Taylor.
Hey Taylor, well, there's something that's really got my attention the last couple of years, and it's so opposite. What I'm learning is that everything that I'm seeing from God in nature is exactly opposite of what I was taught in school. You see how beautifully the kale is growing under my trees? The produce under my trees grow far bigger and healthier than they do away from the trees. The squash plants, they spread on the ground really flat. You ever watch it, you know how they grow? They just,
and they spread out. Yeah.
They don't climb. My squash plants, they didn't climb to the trunk, they went out to the branches and climbed into the trees.
Really?
Really? And I have pictures of spaghetti squash hanging on my trees like apples. You see, these are all dwarf trees, supposed to be this big. And how they create dwarf trees is they find a rootstock that doesn't naturally develop a large root system, and they graft into that. Because you have a small root system, keeps the tree dwarf. And I always say you gotta stake them. So God says, I'll show you why these things grew so. I better go out. I have a plum tree out here that's 10 years old. That have rootstock coming out, 35-foot radius, not diameter.
Yeah.
Radius.
Wow. So the roots from this tree over here, they're coming all the way over to here. That's how far they spread out in a circle.
And imagine the size of that root system. I'm thinking like, oh man, that is huge. Just look at the size of that tree. It can no way possibly consume all the nutrients that's coming into that root system. So it has to displace the excess out through its foliage, and the plants underneath being fed from the top and the bottom. And I thought, whoa. So I'm telling people now, the first thing you want to plant in your vegetable garden are fruit trees.
Yeah. Because
your produce will do so much better. And then the advantage is, like in the summer when it's really hot, you can't grow arugula and spinach and lettuce and cilantro in the full sun, but under the trees in the shade you can. So the advantages just don't end with having fruit trees in the garden.
That's awesome.
Yay God.
There's a spider on your
Oh, it's okay. It's not that big. And what's happening here is that these plants produce seed. And if I don't plant them, they seed themselves. And if I do nothing, I have incredible abundance. I never go to the store for any reason. I have all I need because I'm not an orphan. My father takes good care of me.
So this is Paul here. And Paul, why don't you kind of give a brief explanation of what it is that you spend most of your time doing and where we're at today.
This is my home. I live in Western Washington. It's a beautiful place. This is where I raise my family and I grow all my own food. Because as I read the scripture, I get the significance that God put us in the garden for a reason next to our food, and we should grow our food. What's interesting, science has found that in 10 minutes after fruits and vegetables are picked, they can lose up to 80% of the metabolic properties in 10 minutes. You were never designed to buy stuff out of stores. You were supposed to, like everything in nature, pick and eat. Because I don't go anywhere. I just live on this stuff. And I think this is all there is, you know. So
you have a bunch of fruit trees here. Yeah, what else do you have growing?
If you look over there, along the fence is blueberries. That's an herb garden over there. Okay. There's all kinds of herbs, there's strawberries and more fruit trees.
That's where we were. There's the orchard, and that's his home. Oh my gosh, so cute. Now we're in the herb garden. And chicken coop, and he's got some blueberries and some other stuff over here. So he told me to eat whatever I want, taste it. So thought I'd bring you guys along and check it out together. big celery plant. These are strawberries.
And in front of the blueberries is a big mass of green. That's wasabi. And no one's ever been able to identify it. Until last year, a couple came from Japan. And it was so awesome. That's wasabi! Wow, because wasabi only grows in nature in standing water in full shade. I'm growing it in full sun in woodchips. When I grow it in front of it, sage. You know where sage grows in nature? In deserts.
Right.
No water. So I'm growing a desert plant next to a water standing plant, side by side, not watering. There's enough airspace in the woodchips for the sage to hang out in the open spaces and avoid the water. But wasabi wants the water, it goes, but they have the option. God created this most amazing environment in nature so that you can grow everything in the same place and the plants can choose. I love that. We're out there trying to create this environment for this plant, this one for that, and doing all this labor-intensive, hard stuff that never lasts, and it's totally inconvenient and unnecessary. And it's just so fun. In this environment, I can just plant anything anywhere and just leave, and it just grows. It doesn't need me. Nature needs no help. He made it so easy.
Lavender. These are blueberries.
Parsley, and there's spinach right there, and there's 2 types of lettuce, and there's 2 rows of carrots, and over there then there's cilantro, and then Swiss chard, and then there's like 3 rows of kale, and some cabbage down there. I've been eating broccoli all April. Fresh broccoli every day. Are aware, but kale's probably the most potent food that exists. Now you know that stem, from your experience, is usually tough and stringy. I want you to start at the stem and eat your way back.
Well, it's not tough. Breaks right apart.
It's tasty.
Full of moisture.
It's not bitter.
It's not bitter.
Usually kale's bitter.
Yeah.
As soon as you take the cover off the ground and it compacts, it's dead. It dies. It's dead soil. You see this soil here? You can pound on this you can with your foot just pound that hard to really stomp that down really good. I mean, really try to compact it. See how it just bounces back and laughs at you?
Yeah.
Now stick your hand in there and just watch how easy that moves. I love it.
Yeah.
Living soil cannot be compacted.
Yeah.
But as soon as you take the cover off, the ground compacts and dies. But what I love about wood over everything else, like grass clippings or leaves or straw or manure, is wood products have fungi. And fungi is such a huge component to healthy soil. You think about mycelium? It's a fungi. Mycelium will travel under the ground for miles, all connected, the same plant, for miles. And when plant roots connect to that mycelium, they access the life force that's spread out for miles. I'm just telling you, it's just when you start looking at what God made, it's genius design. It's like, whoa. And so this is why wood chips to me, and if someone were to ask you where on the planet is the most fertile soil, it's in the forest. Everyone knows that. Well, the forest is created from a wood chip environment. And basically what I'm doing in my property, I'm creating the forest floor because it can't be improved on. It's the best.
Yeah.
You know? I so love it. It's so simple.
Yeah.
It's not hard, you know. Just put wood chips down and everything grows. I mean, you look at the greenery, all this, you know, everything out there. You see these potatoes coming up out of the ground over there.
Oh, yeah.
And just everything, how green and lush. This is with no fertilizer. And this orchard has never been irrigated for 38 years.
Wow.
Ever. And last year we had 75 days with no rain. And I had it totally covered with squash and stuff. And nothing was watered and did totally great. And when I get development of stuff I don't want, watch this. I just rub it off. Hand, and just break these off. See how easy that is?
Yeah.
You see you're leaving no wound. It's just so convenient.
Like these branches are starting to go straight up, but what's your plan
well,
with
you
this?
You can now next year. These branches will go. You can see I'm getting fruit development here. I'll probably get some here, and so this is still within my reach.
So the apples will they'll pull these branches down.
That's why they're all bending over because everything just comes down.
Yeah. Do you do like a major pruning?
Major pruning. You know when I do it is in December, January. The plants grow in compacted, dead soil. They're struggling to live.
Right.
And they're expressing in their flavor their bitterness. Have you ever looked at how they tell you to graft? And then you got paste, and you try to hold together with paste.
Okay.
It's labor intensive, really hard. So you make sure that this diameter is the same as that. And what you do over here is you cut an opening in it. And you take this piece and you cut an angle and you slide into the opening. And here's the cool thing about tape. as you wrap with the tape, it pulls everything into alignment so the cambium's lined up. Because it's wrapped with tape, it's not going to flex or move. Because it's wrapped with tape, it keeps it airtight. And because it's black when the sun hits it, it warms and heals quicker. And when it's all done and it'll come off. So all you need is a roll of black tape and your pruners you can graft all day long. It's so simple. Yay God. And you can see they're going to have fruit. See, all this is fruit. First year, you know. You're not supposed to do that.
How old is this tree? What'd you say?
This tree here is like 30 years old.
30? So, I mean, I can stand inside here. You could basically walk on the inside and pick your fruit and then...
Getting the term accessible?
Yeah, and then walk on the outside and get fruit. How do you decide at what point to graft? Like where on the branch?
Oh, just wherever I feel like it. You know.
Yeah.
I want to get inside enough so it's not going to be out beyond where my space is, so I can cut it off there. So you get something inside to graft into. And the beauty about grafting is that I paid nothing. You see, if you buy a tree, it's like $20, $30. You may not like it. With grafting, the sign wheels are free, and I can sample the fruit. If I like it, I'll do more of this. If I not, prune it out.
I remember you saying this in the video, but at what point do you pick the apples?
When they're ripe or they fall off.
Right, so usually you're there. Right?
I like them to fall off because then I know they're ripe. You see the water coming out of that?
Oh,
Is it good?
it's so good.
Honestly, have you ever had asparagus that tasted like that?
It's dripping with the water.
Yeah, would you cook that?
No.
No.
This
You know
is-
why we cook food? We're trying to make it soft because it's tough. When you eat asparagus and you urinate, there's a very powerful odor that comes off your urine that nothing else you eat does. Here's why. It's called minerals. Asparagus sends roots in the ground 14 feet. Not inches, 14 feet into the ground.
Wow.
And they're pulling up mineral content that no other produce even gets near. And when does God have that show up? At the time of year when your body is the most mineral deficient. You think that's an accident or coincidence? I'm telling you, you start tracking, you start observing God's order in nature and how He brings food in season, you're blown away at the wisdom. See, I'm now doing all the things they say you can't. I'm making a point to do things that doesn't work. Asparagus should be in full sun. This is under my tree, and this building knocks off the afternoon sun. And it's totally thriving. I'm growing potatoes under my tree. The soil is so nutrient dense, every square inch can be used to grow food. It's not like an orchard here and a garden there.
How often are you adding more wood chips?
That's a good question. When I first started, because my soil was really hungry, they broke down really quick because the soil was starved. What's happening now, because my soil is so nutrient dense, I'm adding hardly at all because it's not hungry. Bye, camera. It was a pleasure hanging out with you, and hope you enjoyed this. Take care.
Thank you so much
You're so
for
welcome.
teaching us. So there you go. That was our time with Paul, and he basically was sharing knowledge with us the whole entire time about his garden and the world and plants and God, and it was just amazing to hear him talk and just tie all that together. And I feel like we learned a lot. My main question for him was about pruning, because we do want to have fruit trees someday, and I know that he prunes obviously very different than what I've been taught or what you've seen, and so that was really interesting to learn. Yeah, so if you're curious or anything that Paul said you know, piqued your interest, go look up Back to Eden Gardening, and you'll find either their website. They do have a documentary that you can watch for free, and initially that's how I heard about it. We watched that documentary when we started our garden 2 years ago, basically using wood chips as a cover, and that increased the water retention in the soil. You know, it helped keep nutrients in the soil, keeps the weeds down. So we saw amazing results in our garden from following his methods, and so I would encourage you, if you're into gardening or anything like that, or if you're just curious, go check it out. Back to Eden Gardening. And yeah, now we're driving down to Olympia, Washington. We have some friends down there that we're gonna go stay with for a little bit. And so if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for watching today. We would encourage you to hit subscribe and follow our journey. Hit that thumbs up button on this video, and we'll see you later. Hats off to you.